Today's show is brought to you by the new generation NBA. All right, because I don't understand how people can sit here and cheer this on, all this flopping and just disrespecting the sport in general. The finals have been an absolute joke. YouTube Nation, Manfit TV, aka Me TV, aka my blood is boiling today. Oh my God, it's boiling. But you know what? I have to stay very calm. Before I get started on the NBA, let me say this now. I want to start locally. Now, we'll talk about basketball still. But some of you guys had talked to me on Twitter. Eagles Fan for Life 17, Rob, had sent me a tweet on Sunday that something happened pretty much in my backyard that I've spoken about before, and I think that it still needs to be addressed because I'm getting sick and tired of seeing this. Now, for those who don't know what happened, I'll put the link in the info bar for you. A guy down on North 8th Street was playing basketball on Sunday and was shot in the chest and killed. And a number of you guys have said, wow, you can't even ball anymore. You can't even hoop anymore without something happening. Because for those who remember, just last year I was trying to get the mayor involved and I was trying to get Parks and Recreation involved to, renovate these basketball courts to keep people out of trouble. And now it seems like we're having this all come together now. It's like the crime is starting to coincide with things to keep you out of trouble. It's starting to find these people now. Like I said, if someone's out playing basketball, they're staying out of trouble. That's what they're doing. But if it's starting to come to them, it's like, what do you do now? Must you have security or police at every local spot? This is getting out of hand. And as we all know, these are the acts of individuals. It's not the acts of an entire community. We know this. However, since this has happened, now we have morons out of nowhere trying to say that all local basketball courts should be shut down. Now look, I understand people are going to overreact when something like this happens, but let's tone it down a bit here for a minute, because these have to be the dumbest statements I've seen today. They have to be, all right? Hands down. I'll put it like this. I'm going to start with the smallest comment first to say, help fight crime, shut down basketball courts. You do understand if you shut down basketball courts, that's going to cause chaos, right? That's going to cause more crime. And what makes you think that every crime here, because I want to see statistics now, every crime here in Philadelphia is linked to basketball? It's not. If someone gets raped, that's a crime. Are you going to tell me it has to do with basketball? This has to be the dumbest thing, like I said, I've seen today. But that's just one, because they don't know what they're talking about. Now, the first one that comes up, where the guy says, I rarely see people play basketball. Really? You rarely see people. Look, you can go down right now to 6th and Lombard and watch people ball. You can go down right now 10th and Bainbridge and watch people ball. All right. You can go down to 6th and 8th and Washington and watch somebody ball. You can go up to Montcavage and watch somebody ball. You can go up to Sion and watch somebody ball. You can go to Cohawks. They just put up some new rims. You can watch somebody ball. I guarantee you right now there's someone there, and I guarantee you also as soon as 3 o'clock hits, it's going to be mobbed. You understand that you are not going to the places to watch basketball. If you're saying you're rarely seeing people play, it tells me either you're not in the neighborhoods or you don't play. That's what it comes down to. You know where your level of competition is at. And to call these places battlegrounds, ridiculous. They're not battlegrounds. Yeah, it's for respect and balling, but not battlegrounds as in we're going to go around and kill people. It is not that serious. Stop. But this is what happens when we have people like this. And, like I said, I try to get the mayor involved. I try to get Parks and Recreation involved. They don't care. And then as of late, what I've been doing, calling out the media. Why haven't you supported this type of stuff locally? It's okay for you to go to Jersey and go, support them and carrying on, but you can't support the local stuff here? That's ridiculous. It's sickening. It is. But yet it seems like the media, once again, they don't care either. Because if it's not the pros, then it doesn't matter. And this is what people don't understand when people make comments like we should shut down basketball courts. The people that you like that play basketball, the stars that you see that play basketball in the NBA, yeah, guess where they started? They started on a ball court, a local ball court, a street ball court. You would not know who they are if it wasn't for that. You understand that? This is what it comes down to. To say something that ignorant, it's mind-blowing. It just is. The guy's sneakers that you're probably wearing right now, guess where he started? On a basketball court. A local basketball court. What do you think, these people just come out of nowhere? No. They say to get rid of outdoor courts? No. Outdoor courts have to be there. They're more accessible to people because not everyone has indoor courts. And then when you do have indoor courts, they open and close at a certain time. And we all seen that. Anybody know about Colombo? You know they close at a certain time. They open at 1 and they close at like 3 or 4 or something like that on certain days. So people who have work or kids during your school time, you know you can't go and play because there's not enough time. And that's another thing we've been fighting here. It seems like people don't get it. But yet, we should just close them all down, right? Because that's what's causing crime. Nothing else in this city is causing crime. No jobs are being held down. And I say this, people selling drugs and stuff like that. None of that stuff causes crime, but basketball causes crime. Jeez, you gotta be kidding me, man. Stop this. But I do want to move on what I said about the media. Because this is where I've been saying the media needs to step in. If you want a larger demographic, you're going to have to come down in those spots and show that you care. It's amazing how the media can sit here and take and take and take. And what I mean by that, we've all seen on ESPN and radio stations, oh, they got swag and all. They take all of your little slang and all the demographics style and they put it into their shows so that they stay hip, new, and fresh. But as soon as that demographic that they're taken from needs their help, they're nowhere to be found. They're frauds. That's what it comes down to. But yet, we're supposed to just take that, right? Like I said, I will call you on this every time, media. If you want to be respected, then I suggest you start making your way down and you start seeing how these people play and how these people live. It's amazing how we can sit here over the weekend. For those who did not see, over the weekend with the U.S. Open, this is what they did for the U.S. Open down here at Independence Hall. So let me get this straight. You spent X amount of dollars to put a big screen TV in the middle of Independence Hall, right? Where all, 5 people are watching? You want to know why? Because no one here in Philly gives a damn about golf. That's what it comes down to. Where you could have put that money into something more meaningful. That's what it comes down to, as far as I'm concerned. You could have did that and helped build recreational places. Or maybe even help the golf places even around here with that money. Or showcase it in one of their areas. But you don't want to do that, no. You want to put it around where no one gives a damn. But yet, I'm asleep. And here's the thing. When people say that, oh, well, we need to get rid of outdoor courts and we need to have more indoor courts, just focus on the indoor courts. Do you understand how many indoor courts there are around here? There's not that many, all right, in the city. So, if you're going to make indoor courts, that means we have to build more courts. That's what it means. And you know how much money that's going to cost? Not to mention the maintenance that has to go with it. Not to mention people you're going to have to pay hourly, because at that point it's going to have to be, pay hourly to keep those places open. Because if that's all that's left, now you really have to keep them open longer. Do you understand how much that drives? I understand people say it creates jobs. And then you're going to have people who are going to say, well, the city doesn't have the money. Because you know what? The mayor says it all the time. We don't have the money. And here's the funny part about that. And I'm going to put the link in the info bar for you guys. Because when the mayor says we don't have the money, we do have the money. And I've shown that to you before. And I also have some footage that I haven't shown anybody to where he does have private investors for this type of stuff. But yet, no one wants to talk about that. So let's get something straight. As of late, we all know that they're closing down schools here. Right? So now you also want to close down ball courts. All right? Let's just say that happens. If we listen to this idiot. All right? So we close down schools, no education. We close down activities, no activities. But yet they just paid for the mayor, the city of Philadelphia. You taxpayers, my money as well, understand that you just paid for a $400 million prison. That's right. So less education, less activities, more prisons. You do the math. But I'm asleep. Got you. See, and this is where, at one point, you have to have these big-time stars, NBA stars. I understand it's their money. They can do whatever they want. But understand that these franchises, which I tried to tell you guys before, how many videos ago, about the Sixers, and if they want, more fans, they have to come down to these communities and help. This is what it comes down to. I don't care about halftime shows. I don't care about entertainment. No, take that money and put it into, into the community, and they will love you forever. That's what you're failing to realize. But everything I say doesn't matter, right? Because I'm just one person. I can't do it all on my own. Charities only do but so much. Most of the charities here for races and all go to really good charities, so you really can't even you don't want to take away from that. Nonprofits and stuff, you don't want to take away from that. I'm telling you, man, it's getting out of hand here in Philadelphia, and no one gives a damn. But this is why you need to have star power. Because the media, they can make stars, and they also break stars. They do. And instead of going to the homegrowns and saying, look, we're going to make stars in this community for this community, instead of just saying, hey, I guess we'll just have to wait for Drew Holiday or someone to step up off their podium because they're so, loved and hyped to come down and maybe, just maybe, all right, come down and grace you with his appearance. And it's not a knock to Drew Holiday because he doesn't know what the hell's going on. But that's how the media and that's how big business works, even though they know they need to change it if they want to survive. But it doesn't mean, let's talk about the NBA and the media, all right? Because as we all know, the NBA Finals are an absolute joke. I cannot sit here and watch this. Don't sit here and tell me it is okay to watch all this flopping going on, all this complaining going on. You gotta be kidding me. This is supposed to be the best versus the best. And yet in the previous 4 games, we have seen nothing but lopsided scores. 20 points here, 30 points there, 14 points here, 15 points. You gotta be kidding me. And even though sometimes Miami did win when they beat the Spurs, defensively, they dominated them. They couldn't do anything with them. This is an absolute travesty for an NBA Finals, but no one's looking at that. No. All right, we should just be wrapped up in the LeBron saga and what he can do. And I want to go back because since I haven't done a sports video in a while, I want to talk about when he played against the Pacers and how the media reacted towards him.
On that game winner, LeBron James has the ball, 2 seconds to go. We all know Roy Hibbert is on the bench, no rim protector. In an interview with ESPN The Magazine from February, Michael Jordan told Wright Thompson how he would defend LeBron. That's what he said. So if I had to guard him, I'm going to push him left, so 9 out of 10 times, he's going to shoot a jump shot. If he goes right, he's going to the hole. I can't stop him, so I ain't letting him go to the right. He didn't go to the right. He went to the left, EJ.
It went pretty quickly, too. No one else was there to stop him.
And he proved MJ wrong there with the easy layup with the left hand. Now, we've seen this before because the quote came out in February. Well, in March, early March, against the Magic, left side, left hand, off glass, that falls. This extended the Heat win streak to 16 at the time, and LeBron feeling very good here. 1-0 lead by finishing with the left hand 2 nights ago.
See, what ESPN isn't telling you is that Michael Jordan says that's what he would do. Michael Jordan, greatest player of all time, defensive player of the year in 1988. You're going to compare Michael Jordan's defense to Paul George and no big man down low? Is that what you really want to do, ESPN? But that's not what they're trying to tell you, right? So now everyone wants to make a scene that he proved Jordan wrong. Even LeBron, yeah, I proved Jordan wrong. He didn't prove anybody wrong because he didn't play up against Michael Jordan in his prime on defense. That's the difference. But yet they want to take it out of context. That's what they do best, to keep LeBron positive. But let's see how they act when LeBron James gets thrown out the game because his 6th foul for an illegal screen.
Ensuing each possession, LeBron is going to be called for a moving screen there. Offensive foul. And play the song, hit the road jack. LeBron James is going to foul out on that. Officiating definitely called into question tonight.
That play right there is not a moving screen. It's an illegal screen. There is a difference. So yes, he deserved to be called for. He even stuck his leg out to go to show you he was trying to trip him, even though Stevenson pretty much reacted the wrong way, but still Eddie went the wrong way when trying to roll off the screen. But it's an illegal screen. It is not a moving screen. Thanks, ESPN, for showing that you don't know what you're talking about. And then you say the refereeing was called into question. It's always been called into question, yet they got this one right, and now you're mad. That's what it came down to. But let's hear what LeBron has to say about this.
I didn't believe it was offensive foul. I was going to set a screen, and I felt like I was stationary. And D-Wade rejected the pick and roll, and Lance actually ran into me. There's a couple, calls that I didn't feel like, were fouls, personal fouls on me, but that's how the game goes sometimes.
And this is exactly what I don't like. This guy can't even admit that he's wrong. And this is supposed to be the person who's supposed to be a role model. All right? A role model to, younger players. Screaming A. Smith called him a great ambassador to the sport. But yet he can't admit he's wrong. If he's a great ambassador, then man up and admit what you did was wrong. We all saw it. You got caught on camera. Your leg is hanging out. I mean, seriously, we know this. Yet, I've played against guys like him time and time again. What I mean about, anytime there's a foul call, I didn't do anything. They can never do anything. They're Mr. Untouchable. And because we're in this superstar-driven league, this happens all the time. Calls are missed, plays happen, travels, offensive fouls, defensive fouls. I don't know how many times you can keep seeing this where LeBron James charges people and yet they call blocking foul. It's almost like the referees at times don't know what to call. But, like I said, referees always been into question, and the media never complained then. But as soon as it's against a prominent star, where they actually were right on this one, you get mad because you want to keep this superstar-driven league going. And we're going to see that right now.
So, again, 50-50. I'm not, with 56 seconds left in a Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Finals, going to call a sixth foul on a 4-time MVP who has earned a reputation in this league for not fouling. I'm not going to call that. If it's 50-50, I'm going to swallow my whistle on that one.
Right.
And on the Dwayne Wade play, 26 seconds left, I see that play made at least once a night, nearly every game I watch on television. And they all get away with it because it's just allowed. By the letter of the law, did he move his pivot foot? Yes. Do they all move their pivot foot? Yes, they do. So I'm not calling that if the game is hanging in the balance.
And this is the problem today with people becoming complacent with what they see on the court. Look, I don't care if LeBron James, has a reputation of not fouling. If he fouls someone, then you call it. Bottom line, it's called interest of fairness. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to treat everyone equal on that ball court. But as we know, the NBA being a superstar-driven league, they don't do this. And this is a big problem. Now, I will say this. We've seen this time and time again when it comes with rookies complaining about calls, and they say, you have to earn it, young man. You have to earn your calls. No! As a referee, you're supposed to call the game the way it's played. Bottom line, in fairness. And it seems like nobody wants to remember that. And I put it like this. I will be uploading a special that's not too long ago that was run on referees and the dangers of refereeing. I will probably put that up tomorrow for you guys to see if YouTube allows it. But I will say this, understand that even on the Wade play, as Skip Bayless has said, I see that happen time and time again throughout the regular season, and no one ever gets called. Just because it's not called doesn't mean that it should just go away. You should just justify it. No, it should be called. And instead of taking a stance where it should be cleaned up, you're trying to make excuses for that person. You have to be kidding me. Those calls are correct. Like he said, by the letter of the law, those calls are correct. But I wouldn't call it in that time. I don't care about how much time is on the clock. If they do it, then you hold them accountable. That's their job. They're pros. But I'm sleeping. Again, I'm sleeping. And I know a lot of people are going to sit here and say, you're just hating on LeBron and Wade or whatever. No, because I'll put it like this. Back in the 80s and 90s, Jordan got a lot of calls that he shouldn't have got. I'm saying that. I remember when he came and played the Sixers when they played in the playoffs. And Jordan was getting away with a lot of stuff. Travels and getting phantom calls for fouls and stuff. Yes, it happens. There's video on YouTube that shows this. Yes, it's wrong, but it's a superstar-driven league. And the media wants you to become complacent with it when you shouldn't. You know and I know it's wrong. And a lot of people going to sit here and say I'm hating. No, it's not it, It's facts, and you can't deal with it. That's what it comes down to. If you don't know basketball, seriously, like I said before, shut the hell up. But yet, that's all right. And let's talk about this LeBron. I have to talk about this because I see so many people as of late, comparing him to Jordan. He is not Jordan, He'll never be Michael Jordan. LeBron James is the first LeBron James. So let him be LeBron James, He doesn't have the mental capacity, I'll put this, the mental toughness of Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant. Or Carmelo Anthony, I'll even say. He doesn't have it. But you let him be who he is, because that's the player he is. When he comes out and says in an interview that flopping is towards his advantage, you got Dwayne Wade coming out and saying the NBA needs flopping because it wouldn't be able to survive. That's right, wouldn't be able to survive if it didn't have flopping. You've got to be kidding me, Dwayne Wade. You do realize that all before the history of where you're at now, those players, they played hard. They didn't flop. If it wasn't for them, you would not have the opportunity to play in this league. You are such a disrespect to this damn league, and people cheer you on. And if you haven't seen that interview, I'll put the link in the info bar. Nothing but truth. But yet, people are going to be mad at me, right? Be mad, yeah, shoot the messenger. That's what you do best. Because what they're saying, you don't hold them accountable. but you'll yell at me. Yeah. Anyways, I do want to talk about more yelling. Because for those who don't know, with Rutgers, as we all know, Rutgers University went through just not too long ago with some basketball stuff. We know that their coach was fired, the men's coach was fired because of the way he was treating, the boys there on his team. He was throwing basketballs at them, he was kicking them, he was calling all types of profanity and slurs, and we saw that. And they fired him, and then we all knew afterwards that they had to pay him after they fired him because, check this out, it was an unjustifiable firing. I don't understand how that's unjustifiable, but now that guy's coaching girls now. Yeah. Now, Rutgers has been over that. But now Rutgers has an even bigger issue, which I'm shocked has not been more I should say, publicly exposed. And then, people who are getting ready to attend Rutgers or like Rutgers, I think you really need to pay attention to this.
And now New Jersey State Senator Richard Cody joining us on the phone. And Senator, what was your reaction to the news that has surrounded the hiring of Julie Herman?
Well, to be honest, I was shocked. They would hire someone who has in their background a record as a coach where there's clearly a history of just brutal harassment of her players. When 15 of your volleyball players, Division I, sign a letter asking for a meeting with the AD and you as the coach, and they allege that she was calling them whores, alcoholics, being learning disabled. They also said that the physical punishment was during a game, if you did something wrong, she would ask you to do 100 push-ups on the sidelines during the game. In addition to that, if they lost, she would say, wear your sweats inside out, you can't shower, you can't eat. So at this, they have a meeting. At the meeting, which, by the way, one of the players, she's saying she doesn't recall the meeting or the letter or anything else. So in any event, there was a meeting, and even one former player said, I remember the color of the couch that I was sitting on. All right, so the athletic director is there with the players waiting for her to come in. She finally comes in. She doesn't say a word for 2 minutes, and all she says is, I can't coach you guys, and she leaves and resigns as a volleyball coach and then gets hired in the athletic department. Now, 16 years later, she doesn't recall the meeting, doesn't remember any of that, and I never said any of those things, and I never abused those players. Now, what would be their motivation for coming up with a story like that? Now, her motivation, obviously, is getting an AD's job in the Big Ten. The other thing that's very disturbing about her background is she had an assistant coach. The assistant coach of the volleyball team says to her, I'm getting married. She says, you get pregnant, you're fired. Well, there's a wedding, her wedding. She, Mrs. Herman, is a bridesmaid at the wedding and actually catches the bouquet. At the press conference announcing her job, one of the reporters asked her about a lawsuit about an assistant coach that you fired because she became pregnant. And she said that she got married. I don't remember. I think maybe she eloped. And so the reporter says, well, there's a video of the wedding and you're in it. She said, no, trust me, there is no video. Well, there is a video, and in the video, she's saying to this woman who got married, now listen, don't let anything happen on your honeymoon, but you know what's going to happen to you. Well, the woman gets pregnant, she's fired, she sues the University of Tennessee and the coach. She wins $150,000 plus $50,000 in attorney's fees for the discrimination because of the fact that she had gotten pregnant. So she says, I don't remember saying that to her. I mean, not only is it what she did, but the fact that she is lying about these incidents in her background, and especially at Rutgers in a time where you want to never hire somebody in the athletic department who has a clear history of abusing players and coaches as well. It's just mind-boggling.
Most specifically at this time for Rutgers, which again is the State University of New Jersey. So, Senator Cody, what would you like to see be done here moving forward?
Obviously, she does not deserve to have the job. You got to cancel the contract based on, as far as I'm concerned, on the fact that she lied about her past. That gives you more than enough reason to get off of that contract. My understanding is that when you're close, you're a finalist, that you have to sign a document called the Statement of Accuracy. So everything you say about your background has to be true. If not, that's cause to be dismissed without any recourse from the code, from the AD in that situation. So there's a way to get rid of her, and the president, he just, obviously, he's clueless. He has to leave. I mean, the hiring of the basketball coach, they announced that he's an alumnus. Well, it turns out he's not. And he said, well, I took the courses, I forgot to register. Then you have the Mr. Rice situation, where he abused the players. But then, unfortunately, you fired the AD, who did a great job, who wanted to fire Mr. Rice, but was told by the university, you can't fire him. So he fined him $50,000, suspended him for 4 games, and forced him to go to anger management courses. So he gets fired.
It's sad that Rutgers has decided to keep this type of ignorance and arrogance and abuse, I'll say, going in their programs. This is ridiculous. You can't tell me that it's okay. Not one bit of that is okay. And it's not just the players, it's now it's staff too. That's sickening. It just is. You know what? People who have, allegiance to Rutgers understand what your university is getting themselves into at this point. That woman should not be hired at all. She should not. But I'm going to move on. I want to talk about hockey. The Chicago Blackhawks versus the Boston Bruins. Understand, as a Flyers fan, I don't care who wins. I'm not cheering anybody on. All right? However, the games are good. And I feel as though, even though those games are going on, in the public media, and I should say not the public media, in the social media sense, it seems like the Flyers are starting to make waves. I don't know what the hell the Flyers are doing. I understand it's a simple mistake, but you should know by now people on Twitter have already run with it. They have. The Flyers have just signed Street, and then everyone's saying it's a great acquisition, it's a great acquisition. That's not what you should be worried about, okay? What you should be worried about is the rumor that the Flyers are going to buy out Ilya Bryzgalov's contract. And I'm really hoping this happens because this guy, he has to go. He's got to go. But with Chicago and Boston, I will say that they have had a little problem as of late, and I will put the link in the info bar for you guys. Chicago started mocking, Boston Strong because of the marathon and everything. Chicago came out with their own, said Chicago Strong. And when that happened, there was a backlash, and the shirts had to be pulled. So I will put that also on, as I said, in the info bar. That's a bad look, Chicago. You can't do that. What's wrong with you? That's pretty classless. Knowing what happened in that marathon, that's pretty classless. So a lot of people are against you right now. Like I said, it doesn't matter to me who wins because I don't care about any team. So you sit back and you try to watch hockey, but as a Flyers fan, it's going to pain me regardless to see who wins. That's it. Anyways, I'm done for today. I'll talk to y'all later. Y'all be safe. I'm out.